I asked Kyle Shanahan, what gives you confidence that you can go on the run you need to go on after the way this season has played out? And he goes, I'm just trying to win one game. Run. No run. I'm trying to win one game. So the next game is Chicago. And they just the good news for the Niners is they just fired their head coach, but that's also the bad news too, because losing to them would be probably even more humiliating than losing by 25 to Green Bay or Buffalo. What do you think? You think they'll win this one?
I mean, they just fired their coach.
Yeah.
And they have a good rookie quarterback, but he's a rookie. He makes mistakes. I can't, and they're at home, the Niners. I can't see them losing the game. So let's talk about if they lose the game in a moment. Iggy, who do you think is going to win the game?
Chicago. No hesitation. No hesitation.
Bad boy.
Can I explain why I say that?
Okay. Yeah.
So they just played Detroit and lost by 3. Do you know how much the Niners would lose by if they played Detroit? 30.
Yeah.
So Chicago just played Detroit, lost by 3, and the coach got fired because he lost the game. And now I know they've lost 6 in a row, but a couple of weeks ago they played Minnesota and lost in overtime by 3. A week before that they played the Packers and lost by 1. The Niners lost by 1 to Green Bay. The Niners lost by 28 to Green Bay. Oh, they're losing to Chicago, Dad.
Okay, hold on. Are you saying Chicago's a better team than the 49ers?
I'm saying the Chicago Bears are a better team. The 4-8 Chicago Bears who don't have a head coach are better than the 49ers. That's what I'm saying, Dad.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Am I wrong? How did they lost by 3 to Detroit? The Niners, they'd throw a parade for themselves if they did that.
Okay, all right. I'm not arguing with you because it's all speculative, and I'm also not betting a bottle of wine because I lost the last bottle of wine. I don't want to bet on this. If they lose to Chicago, what would it say about the 49ers?
It would say they're really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question for you. I got a question for you. So we have competing narratives as to why the Niners are bad. John Lynch was asked like last week, and he said, we don't really have discipline. We're lacking discipline. We keep giving away these games late. Kyle Shanahan, after the game in frustration, said we're just not that good, which could be interpreted as if you say the team is lacking discipline, that could be interpreted as a jab at the coaching from the general manager. And when the coach says the team just isn't that good, that could be interpreted as a jab at the general manager who's in charge of getting the players. Is it possible that there's a little friction between these guys? I mean, usually things aren't hunky-dory when you're 5-7.
It's interesting. It's like they each pointing the finger at the other guy. I love it. But Iggy, let's say, first of all, is the team lacking in discipline?
Yes.
Okay. I would have to admit, agreed. Especially on defense, they seem not to play fundamental defense.
Yeah.
And that may not speak well for the two-headed defensive coordinator. I don't know. But so when
Kyle was asked about the coordinator, he said he's doing a really good job. The problem is, as you said, fundamentals, which to me would be like, the guy who signed Devondre Campbell, Malik Collins, Leonard Floyd. I don't know. Maybe there's a little finger pointage going on, Dad.
Yeah, well, when you say a team isn't disciplined, that's clearly on the coach because the coach is in charge of enforcing football. You got to be. I used to see Bill Walsh at practices. If he didn't like the way it was going, he didn't yell at players. He yelled at coaches. He would humiliate coaches in front of the players. One time, he went over to some of the coaches. There were 3 standing there. Iggy, I'm going to curse now. I apologize. And in front of the players, he said, because it was this one group of players that they were teaching, he said, that was the worst fucking practice I've ever seen. He said it to the coaches and walked away. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think everybody got the message. Everybody got the message. Yeah. Yeah. So undisciplined is clearly referring to the coach because he's in charge of football discipline. Now, when he says we're not a good team, he didn't say that the first week. Everybody's been saying how talented they are. So now he's saying, I'm really a good coach. I just don't have good players to work with. He said this. This is a team that at various times this season has had Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey,
Nick Bosa, Fred Warner,
Jordan Mason, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, he's actually trying to argue that he's exceeded expectations and gotten the most out of this team. What?
What? I mean, you had everybody still says you have a very talented team. If this team isn't good enough for you, maybe they can find another coach who thinks it's good enough.
I just don't understand.
If it's not up to your standards, maybe there should be another coach who could deal with it. And Iggy, I have another question.
Okay.
Well, I listened to the guys who did their game on, on Sunday night. I forget who they are with those guys. And they kept saying, oh, the 49ers, they have so many injuries.
Collinsworth.
Yeah. Yeah, Collinsworth. I'm not putting him down. And the other guy, Tirico, right?
Tirico.
But they gave every excuse. Iggy, are the injuries, and we don't have to go through what they are the injuries an excuse for them being 5-7?
It's a contributing factor, but it's not the reason. They weren't good when they were healthier.
That's the point.
Yeah.
They weren't good starting at the first game.
No.
They beat the Jets, who then fired their coach. When they faced the Rams who stink, came from behind, ran them down, and beat them.
Yeah.
And they're not the only team that did that. They have the worst record in their division of division teams. So it's true. The injuries contribute. Every team has injuries. But let's say their injuries are worse. They weren't good before the injuries. And that's what history needs to show.
And like you said, these are the 49ers. It's not okay to get humiliated back-to-back in back-to-back games. You just got humiliated in back-to-back games. And what's crazy is if they lose to the Bears by 7 points this week, that could be even more humiliating than the last two losses combined, because this team just fired its coach. The Niners will be at home, and they absolutely could lose to the Bears.
Iggy, if they lose to the Bears, from my point of view, because remember, I'm picking them to beat the Bears. If they lose to the Bears, Jed York needs to talk to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, and he needs to say, I know what you're up against. This is not acceptable. I'm putting you on notice. You're here either for the rest of the season or we'll give you one more season. But we have to see significant progress or you guys may be out of here. Oh, absolutely, if they lose to the Bears.
Can you guess what the spread is in that game?
I don't know about these things, Iggy.
Niners by 3.5. It seems pretty close considering the team.
And they get 3 points for being home, right?
So it's like kind of a even matchup between bad teams.
Iggy, I don't know anything about Chicago. Who's their running back?
DeAndre Swift, who's okay.
B.
He's fine. I mean, their team is just there's a reason they're 4-8. It's not all Matt Eberflus's fault. But they've been in a lot of close games and lost most of them, kind of like the Niners.
Yeah.
So
right. Good teams win those games.
Right. So this could be a really close game, and then you'll have both teams trying their best to let the other team win. It could be very entertaining. Here you go. No, you win. No, you win. No, you. It'll be very polite back and forth.
We want to be a good host.